What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our PGA DFS pick show for the 2021 WGC Match Play. Craig, quickly looking back at Honda, we had 3 of 5 of our picks go top 25. Daniel Berger withdrew, but we are on to Austin. We're on to the match play. It's going to be an awesome week, condensed week for us. It's a Wednesday start, so a lot of content coming at your way. Reminder, as we make these picks, fill out those brackets. You have to build lineups so your 6 golfers can make the quarterfinals to make into that Elite 8. That's the only way you'll be optimal and take down a GPP.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about big GPPs with our picks here. So you're not going to be one of the ones who's finishing up high if you have 2 guys who only one of them's going to make them into the quarters.
Yeah, we have a few different things this week, so make sure to stay to the end of our video. We list it all there and lay it all out for you there. But Craig, do you want to jump into it?
Yep, let's do it.
My boy, I'm going back to Patrick Cantlay, 9,800 on DraftKings. He ranks 8th there in his pool. So he's got Patrick Cantlay, Hideki, Ortiz, and Harman. It's actually a pretty difficult pool, I think. The more I looked into it, the more I was kind of concerned about Cantlay getting out. But I just like Cantlay so much. He's coming off that miscut, but that's fine. He has 6 top 17s right before it, a win, a second, a third. He is playing really good golf. He just couldn't make any putts Thursday, Friday at the Players. So great strokes gained last 3 months. That's the last column there compared to his group, 2.17. Actually, I don't know about you, Craig, but the guy I'm most concerned about might be Brian Harman.
Oh, yeah. I think Brian Harman's a great match play player, too. From what I know, I think he's got 1 appearance in the match play tournament, and he made it out of his pool. So he is not someone to be trifled with.
Yeah, and so the 1 plays to 4 in the first Wednesday match. So Cantlay and Harman will face off on Wednesday. That'll be interesting to see. But another reason why I like Cantlay. So back-to-back half-point losses in pool play at this event in Austin. So 2019, he lost to Tiger in his group. 2018, he lost to Cam Smith. Obviously, we know Cam Smith's recent play. Cam Smith can be pretty streaky and is a pretty great player when he's on. Looking at his match play results, 2011 US Am runner-up, 2010 US Am Final Four. We know Cantlay was a great US Amateur player, but those are stellar records. That's a match play event. He got to the Final Four and he got to the championship the next year. And then finally, he doesn't have Ryder Cup, but he has some national team singles records. This is, Walker Cup. This is President's Cup. He's 3-0-2 in singles play.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that one of the things that's going to be hardest for guys like Cantlay that come from a stronger pool is that, once they're out of their pool, anything can happen. It's single elimination. Totally. But it can be so hard for some of these guys to get out of the pool. So I'm pretty sure I saw Data Golf had ranked this as the hardest pool. So maybe something to keep in mind when you are picking anyone from this pool, that it's going to be, I know some pools are getting a lot of publicity, and this one probably isn't getting as much, but it is 4 deep, and it's going to be a slugfest.
There would be no surprises with anyone getting out of here. And if you're new to the whole match play thing, there's a million different combinations you can go. It's going to be hard for these guys to get out of the pool play.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, my first one here, I'm going a little bit higher on the rankings. I'm going all the way up to Jon Rahm, 10,700. He's 4th on DraftKings. So there's so many things I like about this. I just think he has got a softer path than most. So from a DFS point of view, I really like that. I think his match play history is awesome. He's 7-4-2 in 3 WGC match plays. Obviously, it had runner-up to DJ in, 2017, I believe.
Right,
which is 3 years ago because it wasn't held in 2020. And then a single Ryder Cup singles match, he's 1-0-0, and that was versus Mr. Tiger Woods. So not a bad guy to have beat on your resume. But yeah, so like I say, softer path to the quarters. If he does make it out of his group, he faces that group that is, it's Berger, it's Harris English, Brendan Todd. I can't even remember. EVR, yeah. So I think that is one of the softer groups to whoever comes out of that. I think it's a softer play in the round of 16. So, assuming Rahm can take care of business. I mean, if you're playing him at 10,700 in DFS, he has to take care of business for you. Now, what does his group look like? He's got Ryan Palmer, Shane Lowry, and Sebastian Munoz in his group. I think clearly over the past 3 months, he's been the best player out of there. So I do think, from a DFS point of view, I think there's a few guys that have softer paths, for the first, maybe their group, maybe just out of their group. And I think he is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The group actually scares me, but I agree the path from 16 to 8 looks pretty easy. The who he's matched up with in the bracket there. But I think he could get some surprises in this group, and I don't know exactly who. Lowry's come on, Palmer's come on a little bit. Munoz is like a wild card.
Yeah. And I should say, when I say softer group, so first off, Jon Rahm's only made it out of his group in one of 3 years that he's been competing in this. And even, the odds of a guy making it, even out of a soft group, is less than 40%, I think. So even a soft group, it's difficult to make it out of. It's just, that's the nature of match play golf.
And I think people will realize that it is a little bit softer. That he might be a little bit higher owned. I think him and Bryson might have the easiest paths to kind of that quarters, but I'm going to definitely have some Jon Rahm.
Yeah. Okay, next one up for you.
Okay, next one up. I love this pick. Viktor Hovland, 9,400. He ranks 10th, which is a little bit pricey for where he's kind of ranked official world golf ranking and in this event, but he's ranked 10th on DraftKings. I think it's worth paying up for. So in his group, he's Hovland, Ancer, Wiesberger, and Streelman. I think this is one of the easier paths out if you can get through Ancer. I think Ancer is definitely the biggest competition there and the one that it'll come to on the final day on Friday to see if he can get past him. But 1.84, he's been playing really good recently. He's the 2018 US Am champ. Again, match play at Pebble Beach. He played great there. I think he plays well on the big stage. He's T33 or better in 5 of 6 WGCs or major events. I mean, he hasn't played in this before. He's new to the scene. That includes a low amateur at the Masters. That includes, but even as a young, he steps up when the biggest names are there. I just think he's playing really well right now. I think he's a future match play superstar. It didn't go well with the players. I think he's playing really well compared to that. I just think his game, kind of what we saw at the WGC, how good he was at concession with still that huge number. That's just one hole down on Friday when he blew up there.
Yeah, quadruple bogey only costs you a single hole.
It's one hole. I think he just has so much skill. I'm really excited to see him in this format.
Yeah, I think one of the things with Viktor Hovland, people think that his short game is not great. I think that's a misnomer. I think that...
Yeah, I agree.
I think that may have been the case, but his game is developing so rapidly. He's gaining strokes around the green this year. Short game does come into play a lot in match play because you are grinding. You need to make putts. You need to get up and down and scramble. So I think to me, he is a high risk because he has a tough path out of his own group. I wouldn't just count Ancer. I think that Streelman is a very tough play, and he's playing well of recent. And Wiesberger, I also think, anything can happen. Euros seem to overachieve when it comes to match play golf. But sure. If he does get rolling, I think he has tremendous potential. Yeah. My next one here, I am going Tyrrell Hatton. So we're going all the way down to 8,600 now. He's 18th. Match play history. He has gone 6-4-1 in his last 3 WGC match plays and has an 0-1-0 record at the Ryder Cup. That's just the 2018 is the only one he's been in, and that was his loss was versus Patrick Reed, who some may know as a bit of a Ryder Cup specialist. But his group, so this is a group that I think is getting a lot of publicity as a hard group. Hatton, Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, and Matt Wallace. It's the Euro group. It's going to be entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I think that Sergio probably has the next shortest odds after Hatton of making it out of the group. But I think that Tyrrell Hatton is being slept on a little bit with this price. He's the lowest of any, top Pool A player. So of the top 16 that start out the pool, he's the lowest priced of them all, which to me I think is probably because of this pool being harder. And Sergio especially.
Do I need to get my disrespect stamp on this.
You might have to put
pricing.
your disrespect stamp on it.
Disrespect.
But I think Lee Westwood and Sergio playing well of recent. But I was looking at Westwood's history. His WGC match play history is not as good as you would think. So just something to keep in mind. Yes, we have seen him play very good golf, but I think Hatton, I think he sets up very well. I think the mentality he sets up very well for a match play player. Essentially the way I think of it in match play, think of the people you don't want to play against. And those are the people who are going to be good match play players. And he's the type of person you would not want to play against. So he's started here 3 times. He's made it to the weekend in 2 of them. I really think that's what you need to find. It's sort of like the comparable to making the cut. You need guys. You need to get 6 of 6 through to the weekend. So to me, I think Hatton, lowest priced guy of the best of the best in their pool. It just seems like a good value there.
Yeah, it definitely opens things up. I mean, it's kind of it's a funny group, the all European tour. There are a few angry golfers on there. One thing thinking back to Tiger versus Lucas Bjerregaard, I think that was 2019. Tiger said, like, it's hard playing his matches on Sunday, having played that many matches before. So something to keep in mind for Lee Westwood, who went to Augusta, played 54 holes, he missed the cut at Honda, but still, he's got a lot of rounds under his belt. Fresh legs, I think, especially maybe not so much for pool play, but to get through and then to be competitive
all
on
the
the weekend, you need to have fresh legs. Yeah. So I would be. I mean, I got a thing for Sergio. Sergio looks pretty good there, but Hatton's interesting. I think it is a little bit of a disrespect stamp right there.
Yeah, and now whoever makes it out of here has a very good chance of playing, I think, potentially your next guy.
Yeah, so he's priced too low. Paul Casey kind of got priced up here. He's 15th, 8,900 on DraftKings, higher than Hatton, and he's the second ranked in his pool. But he's going against Webb Simpson, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Gooch. Again, strokes in the last 3 months. We talked about Paul Casey on our preview show for this event as one of the hottest golfers in the world right now. He is playing unbelievable right now. Absolutely unbelievable. After his win, he's just followed up with top finishes. So that's why I like him. Webb Simpson hasn't really, I think, been himself as late and has a pretty poor record, actually a very poor record for kind of Webb around here. So I think that's why Paul Casey kind of seems to be the favorite in a lot of early brackets. And then Mackenzie Hughes and Taylor Gooch, I feel like, don't have necessarily the history here to be competitive against a guy like Paul Casey or even Webb Simpson. But Paul Casey, man, this guy is a match play. I think he's kind of a legendary match play golfer. He's 2-time WGC in this event, different course, but in this event, runner-up. So he's made the finals twice. 3-time Ryder Cup champion. His Wikipedia is loaded full of match play results. I couldn't list them all here, but he has a perfect 1999 Walker Cup record. The 3rd player in 77 years to do that on the Walker Cup team. Like, that's how good. Like, this is a legend that's been going for over 2 decades. Paul Casey as a match play Ryder Cup player. The one thing I do get concerned about is I think he could be a little bit chalky, and I think chalky Paul Casey has let down people a lot in the past because all his stats are good. Everything kind of looks good. There's no problems at all. And then that seems to be when he disappoints.
Well, and chalky anything I think in match play is a little bit concerning because it is wild. Yeah. And I would not discount Taylor Gooch as you seem to be. I think he actually has a game that suits match play fairly good. His putter has been hot. I think obviously Casey to me is the favorite to come out of this group. Webb, his match play record is surprising to me. Once I looked into it, I was like, he should be better than this at match play, just based on how good of a putter he is and just his style of play. I think Paul Casey has a good shot to go deep. But if you do roster him and he doesn't, that's where it runs into trouble. Obviously, that's the case with anyone. But I think he's someone I'll have in my pool. It's everything feels a little bit nerve-wracking with match play.
It does. It totally is. But I think he'll be like kind of the most popular, maybe like second tier B player, Yeah.
And then I think the other thing with both Hatton and Casey, they're in the same quadrant, I guess you would call it, as a Dustin Johnson. So, their path through the quarters into the semis is not an easy one.
Yeah.
Okay, my last one here. I'm going with, this might be a little bit of a chalky match play pick too, because he has flashed in match play. Cameron Smith, 8,500. He's 19th on DraftKings. So match play history, he's 3-4-1, but he has made it out of his group before. So to me, that's promising for a player as young as he is. The 2019 President's Cup, he made a bit of a name for himself there. He went 1-0-0 in singles and beat JT, won Justin Thomas in match play. So I think that's a promising, for how old his career is, his match play history is promising. Now, to me, this pick totally relies on what you think about Rory McIlroy, because Cameron Smith is the number 2 ranked player in Rory's group. So he's actually, at this point, he's outgained Rory in terms of strokes gained over the past 3 months, and actually Lanto Griffin has as well. So Griffin, and then Poulter, who is no slouch when it comes to match play. Although I don't think he has had his best stuff for a little bit, but I still think he's not someone to count out. But really, to me, it depends a lot on what you think of Rory McIlroy. Is Rory a bit vulnerable? Rory is one of these people who we can see him play badly for, however long you want to call it. He's shown flashes, but it hasn't been his best stuff for a little while. But he could show up and win this thing and be, on the ascent to number 1 player in the world again over the next couple of months. So that is the thing that you need to take into account if you're playing Cameron Smith, is that Rory can show up and just make you look silly with how dominant he looks. But the other thing is, so if Cameron Smith does make it out of this pool, the winner of this pool has to face whoever makes it out of the Xander, Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Andy Sullivan pool, which that's a strong pool. Whoever makes it out, like Jason Day is a 2-time winner of this event. I think Xander, his game suits match play. So if you do take Cameron Smith, he has to beat Rory. He has to beat a strong player out of there. And then I think that takes him into, if Rahm works his way through, I think at that point he sees Rahm. So he would not have a cakewalk to into the final 4 in this tournament.
And possibly teaser for our sleeper show, Scotty Scheffler, U of T guy, has played this course 1,000 times. Or not 1,000 times, 100 times. 100 times. 100 times.
Yeah.
No, Cam Smith, this is a really hard group for me to figure out, because you can't discount Poulter. Poulter could show up and start sinking every single putt. I think when you start putting in match play, it's a little bit different. You need to make putts, and you need to have that right pace. And Poulter, through his career, knows how to do that and knows about winning big match play events. Lanto, playing well the last 3 months. Rory, kind of a wild card. This is a really hard group. That might mean I might have less interest and then stack heavier the group, the Day, Scheffler, Xander group as well. But it's hard.
But I do suspect Cameron Smith will be a somewhat popular play, just because I think the President's Cup record and just the type of player he is, where he's a good putter, he's got a good short game, he makes a lot of putts. I think he's already on people's radar as a match play type of player. So,
and he's not intimidated by anyone.
No,
that's the vibe I get from Cam Smith.
Yeah. If you're going to rock that haircut, obviously he doesn't have it in this picture, but if you're going to rock that haircut, you don't get intimidated.
That's confidence, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of talked about it at the start. What do we have coming up this week for the match play schedule? PGA.com bracket challenge. The link is below. Come join that. I think we have one of the largest public leagues already, so come join that. Put in your bracket. There are PGA.com prizes if you're in the US. So really fun. Just compete against us. We'll talk about it after in our recap, of course, when the whole thing is done. We have our Austin match play records and a Google sheet that is below as well. Our preview sheet is out now. If you're looking for kind of match play DFS 101, what is match play? Go check that out. Our sleeper show is coming shortly. We have a new bracket show Monday night or Tuesday night. We're on the West Coast, so we don't know exactly when that'll come out, but we're going to do that. And we're going to kind of explain all our picks. And then live before lock, Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Craig and I will be here, Q&A. We'll talk about kind of our strategies, theories, all that kind of good stuff for DFS purposes.
Yeah, let's do it. Good week ahead of us, guys. Good luck this week. It's going to be fun. See you next time.
Chaos is a ladder. Just accept it.